After 1 whole hour, this is everything I was able to do. I set out to animate as much of a fight scene as I could. However, once I started, there'd be no pausing nor resets, everything in one take. Now, how much could I actually animate in 60 minutes? Let's find out. There were a few things that were going to be different from my typical animation process. The first one was that I was going to animate with stick figures. Mainly because when I animate usually, or like when I do any normal drawing, I take a long time redrawing lines. Yeah. And honestly, I don't really have time for that when I could spend hours doing that and I only have a single hour to get everything done. The second thing is more with like the flow and how the different motions feel. I know that there are 12 different principles that are typically used with animation in order to make them feel right. Because that's a big part of it. You want the animation to feel like it's real, like it makes sense. Now, I haven't really studied or done many practices to implement these animations, like I know the one with the bouncing ball and all those sort of things. So usually I spend multiple hours just redrawing different things until it feels right. I didn't really have the luxury to do that here. So I had to go into my brain bank and get the ones that I do kind of remember of like anticipation, feedback, I think it's called, or something like that. I'll put them all up here so you guys can see the names of them. You guys might recognize them. And try to use the ones I remember in order to make it feel right as quickly as possible, because I didn't have as much time to just go back and repeating the section until it feels right. Damn, I really need to like expand my vocab or my knowledge of this, because I just want it to make sense, but I feel like I keep using the same fake words, so I'm not sure if I'm making sense. Anyways, even though I knew I was gonna be making stick figures instead of full drawings, and that I was gonna have to dig into my limited knowledge of animation principles, I didn't really have an idea of what exactly I was gonna animate, or what the story was gonna be. As you might have already guessed, I ended up landing on doing a stick fight, I guess being inspired by the various stick fights I saw when I was younger. And I knew a couple things. I wanted it to be a loop, since it was gonna be really short, as I only have an hour to do it. And I sort of laid the groundwork with the dissolving body going down. I knew I wanted to have impact frames, like the one I'm drawing right now, because a few little impact frames I feel like really enhance this fight. It just like makes it feel so much more oomphier. Like it's got a lot more to it. So I wanted to make a few. I didn't want to spam it because if there's a little too many of them, it feels like a strobe light and it's just too much. A few good ones, I feel like really elevates it. Too many, bad. And I also wanted to add a close-up shot of the one of the stickman. And just because, I don't know, it would give me a little more time, like it would give it a little more time to the animation, since it'll give it space to slow down a bit. I feel like a lot of times the animation itself is like really quick and I spend a lot of time to do something really snappy. So by doing a close-up like of their face, it maybe gives a little more room to breathe and for the viewer to understand what's happening. So I decided to do a close-up of the red after the blue guy missed. And at first he wasn't gonna miss, I just wasn't sure. Like a lot of this was like in the moment. Like the following action of what I drew was just based off what felt right from the previous action. It wasn't that planned out of like, okay, this is gonna be the whole choreography. And also along with that, I have that aphantasia that I can't imagine anything in my head. I don't know if it limits me or not. I feel like I can like describe it in my head with the words, but I can't see it. And maybe that has made it more difficult because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to try to imagine the whole choreography because I won't be able to visualize it properly. So I'm going to go piece by piece, and as soon as I do a single piece, I'll be able to get an idea of what the next thing should be and the next thing that would be cool. Now, with the sort of slowed down like close-up of the face done, it sort of allowed the person to catch up to what's happening in the story. The blue guy's trying to attack the red guy. That's basically what's going on, and the red guy's gonna fight back, probably. Is this spoilers? You guys are watching me do it right now. Is this whole animation spoilers? You know, I'm gonna cut it off right near the end so you guys don't see like the right end, and then you guys can see the full animation together once I add sound effects and all that. The sound effects are not gonna be within that hour. Now here is when I decide to add the second impact frame, when he starts fighting back, so they each get one. They each get an impact frame for their attack, and I think 2 is plenty, and I don't think anything else was worthy of an impact frame, and like I said, don't want to spam it. And here, I love doing the little like exclamation things and such. It just adds, it's like really quick, it's like a couple frames, so I feel like it adds a little bit of idea of what the person might be thinking, like of like him being like, oh, this is good, I gotta this is not good, I gotta react. And this is also where I was like, this is not good, I gotta finish things up, because we're nearing the end of the amount of time I have, the hour, and I didn't really see how I was gonna get to the starting position, because I do want this to loop like I mentioned previously. So this is where I went into turbo mode, and I started making things a little blurry after a bit. I realized we got this stick stuck in the wall, we got this guy flying, and somehow I gotta get everything out of frame, or like back to what it was when it started, and I gotta fix this wall in not too much time. In order to do it, the first solution that came to mind was just launching everything, just like get it moving. Like here, I do like a purely blob. It's basically just a red blob, and I'm able to do that because they're launching really quickly, and it sort of simulates motion, but it's also really easy to do. Here we have the carcass of what's going to be the blue guy in a few seconds, hopefully, if we figure it out. And it's moving good. Like, I got a little bit of time left, but it's getting a little tight. Things are out of frame. We're getting closer. He's almost in position. I just need to fix a hole in the wall and make sure the blue guy falls into position so he doesn't like teleport from one place to the other. But I ran out of time. I didn't make it. It was over. In 1 hour, I had almost come so close, but it was done. It is true I didn't fully make it, but I didn't really want to leave the hole in the wall and the guy teleporting from being midair into the final position, so I gave myself 5 minutes of overtime and I was able to clean things up. After that, I spent 30 minutes adding sound effects, and this is the final animation. Honestly, this is really fun, and I think you should try it too. Create something in time constraint. Okay, bye.